a way to head off to Hawaii to tell the White House press corps Vladimir Putin did it, in so many words. He didn't say it directly, but he said nothing happens in Russia without Vladimir Putin's approval. That is quite a message to send.
It's an extraordinary moment. This is heading into a new presidency. He is at odds with the incoming president, Donald Trump, who has refused to accept the word of the intelligence community on this. He's also not quite saying exactly what the Clinton campaign is saying. We have seen some very forceful words from the Clinton campaign about rogue operators within the FBI. John Podesta, the campaign chairman, whose emails were hacked, talked about this. Hillary Clinton talked about this at a thank you event last night in New York. The president did not go that far, but he did make sure this was all front and center. It is very unlikely that the Clinton team was not aware that he was planning on doing this. And it puts the ball pretty squarely into Donald Trump's court. He has, again, refused to accept that this is what happened, despite the word of the intelligence community. Other Republicans are saying this is what happened. Some, such as Lindsey Graham, are making it a condition of a hearing for his Secretary of State nominee, Rex Tillerson, that there needs to be some acknowledgement of this. So I'm not sure how long this can hold for Donald Trump, keeping it this way. I think there's going to be growing pressure. And for now, we are seeing him tweeting. He's about to disappear to his resort in Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, for the next 2 weeks. At some point, he is going to presumably talk to reporters.
We shall see about that. He has not held a press conference for many months.
No, but he has talked to reporters individually,
yes, he has.
And there have been other interactions. We really haven't had any of that other than him appearing with Kanye West in the lobby of his tower recently.
No transition press conference, which is notable because we have seen that before in other transitions. Angela Rye, give me your assessment of the president's message today. In a way, threading a needle. Very critical of Vladimir Putin, very critical of Russia. Not critical of the FBI the way that Hillary Clinton's team is right now.
Well, and I think that's a tough stance for him to take, given the fact that this, of course, is in his administration. I think FBI Director Comey caught a lot of flack and heat already, and I would say that it was warranted. I think that we can't take this lightly. I think that the president made it very clear where he stood on Russia, that he believes that Vladimir Putin was involved. I know he said that he will leave it up to the press corps to determine whether or not they think so, if they think that these high-level officials acted in a rogue manner. I think it's notable, right, that Donald Trump, you said jokingly earlier, Maggie, but he said it nonetheless, urged Russia to hack Hillary Clinton. I think it's notable that Reince Priebus was asked by the DNC chair to sign a letter urging Russia to stay out of their elections. I think it's notable that at this point we are now in a situation where there are members on both sides of the aisle in the House and Senate calling for an independent bipartisan commission to look into the effect that Russia's had on this election. It's very important. That, to me, I know we talked about this earlier, is something that calls into question, if nothing else, the legitimacy of Donald Trump's election as president-elect.
Congressman Kingston, you just got back from Russia, we should note. You met with some American businesses, I believe, in Russia, but I'm sure you had a chance to talk to other people there as well. What does the president-elect's response need to be to this news that Russia, including senior Russian officials, according to the president, were involved in hacking into the campaign?
Well, I think number one, saying to the intelligence community, cooperate, as is your constitutional duty, with members of the House who asked you to come down and explain it to them. By you not going down and talking to Devin Nunes in the intelligence community this week, it's a signal of politics. This is above politics, but you're playing politics. The second thing I'll say is the president did something very, very political tonight that we're not even discussing. He changed the subject from Aleppo. This week, we saw the fall of Aleppo, one of the biggest foreign policy failures in U.S. history. 400,000 people dead, millions of refugees, women and children, and now reports that the Assad regime is going door to door and executing children, and not one question about it. It's all about Russian hackers.
He brought up Aleppo. He
brought it up in passing, John.
He brought up Aleppo.
But
sure,
the
and it
human
came up and he talked about it at length. I'm not in any way defending what the administration has done there, but it did come up. And what he said is he said he regrets what happened. He did not certainly admit any mistakes. Hang on. And we can get to Aleppo, but I do want to stay right now on the Russian hacking, because if Russia hacked into our campaign, it is a big story, right? And it will not go away in the next 3 weeks. And President-elect Trump, when he becomes president, either will or won't try to deal with the situation.
And I think one thing,
and I just want to know from you, because you were close to the president-elect in this transition, is this something he is going to address, yes or no?
I think he will address it, and let me tell you one thing. Going forward, he would not pull Putin aside at a G20 conference and say, by the way, cut it out. He would say, what in the heck are you thinking? I just heard the president of the United States say that. That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he says. You can't have it both ways. If it's a big, big problem, you address it in a big way.
Okay,
you make a statement. You don't say, I
it.
pulled him aside and I told him to cut it out. How ineffective.
There's something bigger at stake here. I mean, let's just a couple things. First of all, the future is important. When you're the president-elect, you can deal with something like this in 3 ways. Personally, I'm offended. They're trying to delegitimate me. You can deal with it in a partisan way. They're trying to hurt my party. You can deal with it in a patriotic way. They're trying to hurt my country. And what you're watching here is this guy, the president-elect, who's going to be all of our president, in real time. He certainly knows how to respond when it's personal. He knows how to respond when it's partisan. But you have the first attack on our country acknowledged since he's been elected. And he's not responded like a patriot yet. Now, that is very disturbing. Now, you guys keep wanting to point out that Obama did this and he did that. Oh, and then when Trump gets in there, he's going to do X, Y, and Z. The reality is, he talks all the time. He's speaking tonight. He tweets like my children do, and he's not spoken like a patriot yet.
But Van, let me say, is this not an echo of what we heard a month ago? He's not addressing the protesters, the rioters, the 71 people who were arrested in Seattle. I mean, we keep hearing this from the left, that his post-election behavior doesn't suit the standards of the left, and that's just too bad. Elections have come.
It doesn't suit
There's plenty of Republicans.
Van, go ahead. Van, then Caleb.
I'm just going to, look, I don't, listen, I am on the left side of Pluto, and I'm proud of it. I don't think anybody here mistakes me for being a conservative. And
I'm on the right side. I keep bumping into you on the edge of Pluto.
Exactly. But this is not about left versus right. This is about right versus wrong. There is a right way and a wrong way to deal with an attack on our country. And right now, so far, we have not seen the right way from this president.
Okay, he's not president of the United States yet. I think we do need to give him time to the point where he has the resources to respond to a Russian attack. I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt. One thing I like that President Obama said today was at the very end of his press conference, he said it was his final thought, and he said, I hope we can get to a point in this country where we can disagree civilly based on the same set of facts. And to me, what that means is Republicans, the onus is on us to say, hey, this happened. It's inexcusable. Russia cannot commit a cyber attack on the United States. But the onus also is on Democrats to say, look, Trump won this fair and squarely. I think it was uncalled for Podesta to put out a request saying the electors should be briefed when we know Russia was not meddling in the voting on the day of the election. Every American had their say. I think there's two sets of facts that need to be acknowledged here, and I think President-elect Trump is caught in the crosshairs of those who are trying to delegitimize his election. Nevertheless, he should acknowledge the first point, that it's inexcusable for Russia to.
Eliana, is there space between the White House and Hillary Clinton supporters on this right now?
Yeah, I think there's a huge gap, and it was evident in President Obama's remarks. Hillary Clinton said just yesterday to a group of donors that the reason she lost the election is in part because of Russian hacking, because of the email scandal. President Obama notably would not say that. He acknowledged Russian responsibility, but did not tie it at all to the results of the election. I think he purposely did that. But I think we have senior Republicans now speaking out about this. John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, and Donald Trump's stance toward Russia was perhaps the matter of concern for Republicans and Democrats alike during this election. And to portray him as a passive actor who can't speak out on this because he is not the president yet, I don't think is quite right. But going forward, this is going to be perhaps the major storyline in terms of foreign policy in the administration. And it's not rocket science for him to say that I was elected fairly and squarely, and as president, I will not tolerate Russian hacking into or meddling in American campaigns when I assume office on January 20th. It's not that hard.